I let her think she was too much, because I was never enough. If you have never watched someone slowly stop trying, you might think heartbreak always happens loudly. But sometimes it happens in small, quiet ways. A message that used to come instantly now comes hours later. A voice that used to sound excited now sounds polite. A smile that used to reach the eyes now only stays on the lips. And the scariest part is, when you finally notice it, already over. I was 27 when I met her. Her name was Lina. I met her in a bookstore that didn't even look like a bookstore from the outside. The sign was faded. The glass door squeaked. And the shelves were crowded like the owner refused to throw anything away. It smelled like old paper and dust and something sweet like coffee from next door. I was there because I had nowhere else to be. That year, my life felt like a long pause. I had just quit a job I hated. But I didn't have a better plan. My friends were moving forward, getting promoted, getting married, building futures. And I was still standing in the same place, pretending it didn't bother me. Lina was sitting on the floor between two shelves, reading like she belonged there. She wore headphones, but no music was playing. I noticed because her eyes kept moving, but her head stayed still, like she was trying not to be disturbed. When she looked up and caught me staring, she didn't get angry. She smiled. Not a big smile, just a small, soft one. Then she asked, "Are you lost? Or are you searching for something?" I laughed, embarrassed, and said, "Maybe both." She nodded like that made sense. That was how we started talking. We talked about books first, then movies, then random things that shouldn't have mattered, but somehow did. She had this energy that felt alive. She reacted to things honestly. If she was happy, you could feel it. If she was sad, she didn't hide behind jokes. If she liked something, she said it with her whole chest. She was not the type of person who loved quietly. She loved like she wanted to be understood. And at first, that made me feel lucky, because Lina didn't make you guess. She would message first. She would ask to see you. She would tell you when she missed you. She would send me photos of her day, her lunch, the sky, a stray cat, the sunlight on her desk. And she would write, "This made me think of you." No one had ever done that to me. And I won't lie, I liked it. I liked being someone's favorite person. We started meeting every week. Sometimes we'd go back to that bookstore and sit in the corner, sharing one drink from the cafe next door. Sometimes we walked around the city without a destination, just talking. She liked street food. Spicy noodles, grilled meat skewers, sweet drinks with too much ice. She ate like she was enjoying life on purpose. There was one night I still remember clearly. We stood on a bridge, looking down at the river. The water was dark. The streetlights reflected like broken gold lines. She leaned against the railing and said, "I feel peaceful with you." I didn't know how to respond, because I felt it too. But peace is terrifying when you're used to disappointment. So I just said, "Yeah, me too." And even then, I could see it. She wanted more from me. Not money, not gifts, not grand gestures, just presence, just certainty. But certainty was something I didn't know how to give, because I wasn't certain about myself. Lina grew closer to me faster than I expected. Not in an unhealthy way, just honestly. She started telling her friends about me. She invited me to small gatherings. She asked me what I wanted in the future. And every time she asked, I felt like I was standing under a bright light, exposed. Because I didn't have answers. I had feelings, yes, but I didn't have stability. I didn't have direction. And I was ashamed of that. So I started doing something terrible. Instead of admitting, I felt insecure. I made her feel like she was too much. At first, it was small. She'd message, "Did you eat?" And I'd reply hours later, "You don't have to worry about me." She'd say, "I miss you." And I'd respond, "You're always emotional." She'd ask, "Can we talk?" And I'd say, "Why do you always need reassurance?" Every time I said those things, I watched her energy shrink a little, but I kept going because it was easier to make her feel needy than to admit I was scared. There was a weekend she planned something special. She said, "Let's go out early. I want to take you somewhere." We met in the morning. She looked happy, dressed nicely, holding 2 tickets. It was for a small art exhibit. Nothing expensive, nothing fancy, just something she thought we would enjoy together. She kept pointing at paintings, asking me what I saw, laughing at her own interpretations. At one point she reached for my hand, naturally, without thinking, and I let her. But I didn't hold it tightly. I didn't squeeze back. I didn't give her that small reassurance that says, "I'm here. I'm proud to be seen with you. I want this." She noticed. She didn't say anything at the time. But later, when we sat on a bench outside eating ice cream, she asked softly, "Do you feel embarrassed of me?" That question shocked me. "No," I said quickly. "Why would you think that?" She stared at her ice cream, like it was more interesting than my face. "Because sometimes," she said, "I feel like I'm loving you alone." My chest tightened. I wanted to deny it, but I couldn't, because she was right. I cared about her, but I never gave her the kind of love she deserved. I gave her pieces, small pieces, enough to keep her there, but never enough to make her feel safe. After that day, Lina changed. Not suddenly, slowly, like a candle burning out. Her messages became shorter. Her voice notes disappeared. Her laughter became less frequent. She stopped sending photos of her day. And when we met, she seemed like she was holding something back. One evening, we sat in our usual spot near the cafe. Rain was falling lightly outside, tapping the window like someone trying to get in. Lina wrapped her hands around her cup and stared into it, silent for a long time. Then she said, "Can I ask you something honestly?" I nodded. She whispered, "Why do you act like my love is a problem?" That question hit me harder than anything, because it was true. I treated her love like pressure, like inconvenience, like something I had to survive, when it was actually a gift. I didn't answer fast enough, and she kept going, voice shaking but controlled. "I know I'm emotional," she said. "I know I care deeply. I know I feel things strongly. But I've been trying to shrink myself so you don't get annoyed." She laughed once, bitterly. "Do you know how painful it is?" she continued. "To slowly become quieter, just so someone doesn't leave?" I felt my throat close, because I suddenly saw it. I saw the way she used to speak freely, and how she now measured every word. I saw how she used to reach for my hand, and how she stopped. I saw how she used to look at me with hope, and how her eyes now looked tired. And the worst part is, I was the reason. She took a deep breath. "I don't think I'm too much," she said softly. "I think I'm just too much for someone who doesn't know how to love me properly." That sentence felt like a door closing. I reached for her hand, finally, desperately. "Lina," I started, but she gently pulled away. Not angry, not dramatic, just done. "I wanted you," she whispered. "I wanted this to work. But I can't keep apologizing for having feelings." I felt panic rising in my chest. "Please," I said, voice breaking. "I didn't mean to." She shook her head, tears in her eyes, but her voice was steady. "You didn't mean to," she repeated quietly, "but you still did it." Then she stood up, and before she walked away, she said something that still haunts me. "I hope one day you realize the problem was never my love." And she left. Just like that. No shouting, no fight, only silence. After she left, the cafe felt colder. The air felt empty. I sat there for a long time, staring at her untouched cup, like it contained all the things I never said. That night, I went home and opened our chat. I scrolled up, and I saw it clearly. Her effort, her warmth, her patience, and my cold reply. My jokes that were actually avoidance. My distance disguised as being busy. I typed a message. I'm sorry. I was scared. You were never too much. I just didn't know how to be enough. But I didn't send it. Because she deserved peace more than she deserved another explanation. Weeks passed. I saw her once, by accident, outside that same bookstore. She was standing near the entrance, holding a book and smiling at someone beside her. Not a forced smile, a real one. And I realized something painful. Lina didn't stop loving. She just stopped wasting it. That is what hurts the most. Not that she left, but that I trained her to. This love story didn't teach me about passion. It taught me about responsibility. Because when someone loves you openly, you either protect that softness, or you destroy it. And I destroyed it. Not with betrayal, not with cheating, but with making her feel like love was something she had to apologize for. Now I understand what too much really means. It means she was giving me the kind of love I always prayed for, and I treated it like a burden. I am Lucy, and this is Unsaid Love.